Hi there, Zam here from Nerd Nation. I'm going to be talking episode 4 and 5 of Young Rock. Do apologize for not getting to this to you earlier, but shit happens. So, episode 4 is set in 1990. This is a period of time where Rocky was playing university football. But unfortunately for Rock, just before the season starts with his college, he gets an injury, a bad injury. He gets ligament damage on his shoulder, and it means that he's actually out for the season. And you have to go through some serious rehab and stuff like that. His coach tries to, um, give him a pep talk of saying, "Look, you're a strong young boy. We'll get your shoulder fixed up, and next season you'll be back on this field kicking ass." And Rock takes that pep talk to heart, and he does start training initially, but he sees all his teammates playing, and he's just wearing jeans, sitting on the sideline, not playing with a sling and stuff like that. It upsets him. He ends up getting depressed from this, so much so that he doesn't kind of study anymore. He's not even attending team meetings because he's not playing. So what's the point? He only starts playing video games and he's just avoiding everything. There is a cool moment when one of his friends tells him, "Look, let's just go to a nightclub. Maybe we can kick some ass and it'd be like the good old days." And when they go to this nightclub, they try to use their, like they're kind of sort of like they kind of recognize people because of their college footballers, so they use that to try to get inside to the nightclub early. But one of the people queuing has a problem with that, and he wants to have a fight with the Rock, and they want to, and this guy who wants to have a fight with the Rock, he's a skinny young little dude, and Rock has no problem with wanting to fight this guy. But Rock's mate tells him, "Listen, you don't want to fight this guy. This guy is a judo expert." And we see this little skinny dude doing like martial art moves and stuff like that, training like he's Bruce Lee, warming up and shit like that. And Rock actually backs down and says, "You know what? Let's forget this." And then he turns around and walks off, and he doesn't even want to go to the nightclub because even some of the people who he thought were his friends are just not giving a shit about him and mocking him, saying that, well, why he's injured, he could get a job in the nightclub, maybe cleaning tables and stuff. They don't give a fuck about him, and he realizes that pretty quick. So he walks off, and then he's at home now, and he's just, like I said, he's just skipped university, skipped his finals and everything, doesn't give a fuck about it, and he's at home just eating food, watching TV, just being really depressed. And Rock said to himself that back then no one really knew what depression was, but he kind of looks back at it himself and says it definitely was depression. But it took his dad to snap him out of it. Something his dad says to him when he sees him on the couch for so many days that he wants him to snap out of it. So he takes him to a gymnasium, they work out, and then he gives him a pep talk saying that, "I know you wanted to go this way, but you're stuck here and you're not moving from here because what the route you wanted to take is now blocked. So you have to find another route." I'm not saying it the way his dad's saying it. I'm kind of putting my own spin on it, but it's kind of along those roads. If you want to be stuck here, and now where he's stuck at the moment is sitting on the couch watching TV and playing video games and eating chicken wings, then that's what you've done. Then fine, he'll get you. He even told his son, "Look, I'll get you a job at the trucking yard with me, and you can do that when you finish work, and you'll be happy. You've succeeded in life. That's what you want to do. But if you don't want to do that, then you can find opportunities. You're still young, and if you train hard, you'll get back on college next season. You can do really well for yourself." And this particular pep talk worked really well with young Rock. He took his dad's advice, and then we finally see him later on in the episode get his shit together, train, and he ends up playing football the following year. And he gives a special shout out to his coach, and his coach had a very gravelly voice, and the actor who played him gave a very gravelly voice in his performance. But then we see the real coach when we cut to 2032 with the actual Dwayne Johnson, and we see the real coach, and he gives a little talk at the end as well, and he legitimately has a gravelly voice, so that was pretty cool. And Rock was very touched by that. He has fond memories of those times, and he has a lot of respect for that coach because that coach believed in Rock. So good moments. On to episode 5. Now, this is a continuation of episode 2. It's set in 1987. Rock is still a kleptomaniac. He's still in clothes all the bloody time because he wants to look impressive. He wants to. It reminds me of the times when his family were making money back in '82 when wrestling was really popular and it was booming then. So he wants those times back. He wants that money back. He wants to look good in front of the girls and stuff like that. And Rock's mom is is the main person taking care of young Rock at this particular time, because Rocky Johnson, that is constantly on the road wrestling and stuff, so he's not around. So she has to basically deal with young Rock and all his problems right now. And young Rock is such a kleptomaniac. He's even stealing from Rock's mum's friends. And when Rock mum found an item stolen from one of her friends, she tried to return it, and Rock's mum's friend thought that she was stealing the item she was trying to return, but luckily she explained to her that my son stole it and I was just returning it, and she instantly believed her, which is great, because I'm glad we didn't go for a stupid trope. But Rock's mum is so pissed off that his son is just constantly stealing and she can't control him, that she confronts him in the shopping mall in front of everyone and just lays down the discipline on him, kind of purposely embarrassing him into a degree, because she wants to put him in his place. And there was a really good moment here, because we kind of see the birth of one of his catchphrases, because his mum is saying, "What do you think you're doing here?" And then when Rock is about to respond, she says, "It doesn't matter what you think." So we see the origins of that catchphrase from his being born here, and it came from his mum. Fan-fucking-tastic. Like I said before, Rock is really just trying to impress the girl, which is why he's stealing so much. And when Rock and his mum finally have a moment together in their house, when the shit is starting to calm down and they communicate to each other, those moments of just trying to understand each other, where they're coming from, was really great. And it shows you what an important character Rock's mum was in his life as well, because a lot of the focus has been on about Rocky Johnson and some of the things he said and done that influenced Rock. But this episode was about Rock's mum and what a powerhouse that she is, and still that she was and still is today. Because when this episode ended, we see Rock's mum. This is 2032. Rock now, the real Dwayne Johnson, and he has his mum there, and she's like making little jokes and calling him Dewey, because that's his nickname. Both his parents were calling him Dewey back then. In both episodes 4 and 5, they were constantly calling him Dewey. Pretty cool. And Randall Park as well, by the way, in this episode. He wasn't in episode 4, there was another gentleman, but in episode 5 he was in that, and he had some good moments as well. I do recommend watching both of these episodes. They're great. I do recommend watching this series. It's really great. I did forget about the series for a couple of episodes, because episode 3 wasn't that great. So I didn't mean to say a couple of episodes, but for a couple of weeks, because episode 3 wasn't that great. But episode 4 and 5 brought this show back. It's a really good show. If you know anything about wrestling, and if you'd like to follow The Rock or anything along those lines, you'll really appreciate this show. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys later.